Hi everyone. Now we are going to discuss about fermented vegetables. First of all, let's see what is a vegetable. A vegetable is a plant cultivated for food. They include edible parts such as leaves, bulbs, stem and roots. This we know very often, isn't it? Then vegetables are going to be prone to deterioration by microorganisms very easily. Why? Because these vegetables are going to provide an ideal substrate for the multiplication of these microorganisms. So obviously what we will think to preserve, we are going to follow the different methods, where one of the method is the fermented vegetables. So we are going to preserve our vegetables either by pickling or by fermentation or by adding the salt, drying or other methods. Then let's see some examples of the fermented vegetables and the vegetables from which they are manufactured or prepared. So for example, if we take the vegetable cabbage, the fermented product coming from the cabbage is called as sauerkraut. And if a vegetable is a radish, you are going to have a shinki. That is nothing but the pickled radish is going to be called as shinki. Then the kimchi is another type of the fermented vegetable, and here the kimchi is going to be prepared by the blend of cabbage, radish, turmeric, etc. Along with these vegetables, we are also having different types of the vegetables like tomatoes, okra, cucumber, asparagus, cauliflower, beans, peas, even the mushrooms. They are going to be separately fermented, or they may have in the form of a blended also. We can prepare the pickle. So these are the few examples of the fermented vegetables. And then coming to the actual definition of fermented vegetable. Vegetable fermentation is a technique whereby starches and sugars that are present in the vegetables are converted into lactic acid. So which one is going to convert the lactic acid? Nothing but the lactic acid producing bacteria, that is lactobacilli. And this is done by the bacteria when present in the storage vessel and on the surface of the vegetables. We are not going to add any starter culture from outside. Whatever the bacteria that is present in the storage vessel as well as on the surface of the vegetables are enough to ferment the vegetables. So that's how we are going to define that starches and sugars present in the vegetables are going to be converted into the lactic acid by the lactic acid producing bacteria is going to be termed as vegetable fermentation. This fermented vegetables are going to be produced very relatively low technology process with low energy inputs and produce foods that have unique flavors and textures, also adding a variety to the diet. That means routinely you don't need of the same kind, so you can take any kind of the variety that diet you want. And not only that, they are the resultant nutritious food may be stored or preserved for 1 year or more without any refrigeration. That is an advantage of that here. Generally, vegetables, if you are keeping outside, they may spoil within 2 to 3 days after cropping. But when you are going to have the vegetables in the form of fermented vegetables, they can be preserved for 1 or more years without any refrigeration, isn't it? Then coming to the microorganisms of fermented vegetables, almost all vegetables can be fermented through natural process because they harbor many types of lactic acid bacteria. Especially here you can see the few types of bacilli, that is lactobacillus acidophilus, lactobacillus thermophilus, lactobacillus bulgaricus, lactobacillus plantarum, lactobacillus brevi, leuconostoc mesenteroides. So these are the few examples of the lactofermenting bacteria which are involved in the conversion of the sugars to lactic acid formation, which are present in the vegetables. And not only that, these all bacteria are a friendly bacteria that normally live in our digestive, urinary and genital system without causing diseases. And there is an assumption that we are having more than 70 species which were recognized in the normal flora of a human. Lactobacillus is going to be of very different type, that is heterogeneous genus is there, accompanying species with a large variety of phenotypic, biochemical, and physiological properties. Most of lactobacilli are going to be classified into homofermentative and heterofermentative. What does it mean? Homofermentative means here only you are going to have the synthesis of lactic acid as the end product. But in the heterofermentative, you are going to get the lactic acid, acetic acid, and ethyl alcohol in combination. That means not only one product you are going to get, more than one you are going to have, where we call them as heterofermentative. Okay, so these are the few examples of microorganisms which are involved in fermentation of vegetables. And this vegetable fermentation was originated in the early years of human civilization, and even now is widely used by many cultures. Okay, then here you can see the type of the vegetable and the type of the bacteria that is present on the concerned vegetables. For example, if we take the garlic, so the garlic is going to have the Lactobacillus plantarum as a surface organism. Then carrot slices, Lactobacillus sacchi. Then olive, Lactobacillus pentosus. Cabbage, gourd, cereal, you are going to have plantarum or pentosus or brevis species. And cucumber, you are going to have the Lactobacillus plantarum. And a mixture of cabbage and carrot is going to have a mixed starter culture. Okay, like that, each and every uh, vegetable is going to have their own specific microorganism. Okay, you can see here the carrot juice is going to have plantarum and Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is a yeast. Okay, so these are the few examples of the vegetables and the concerned microorganism present on them. Then coming to the types of fermentation of vegetables. So how you are going to ferment the vegetables? So the lactic acid fermentation of vegetables can be carried out under four basic types. How many types? Four basic types. Number one is a dried salted. Number two is brine salted. Number three is non-salted. Number four is a pit fermentation. Pit means you are going to dig some one, and in which you are going to put your vegetables for the fermentation. So I'll tell you. So coming to the first one, dry salted. So here in the dry salted one, the vegetables are going to have the addition of a dry salt. For example, if you are taking the 100 kgs of vegetables, 3 kgs of the salt is needed to prepare the fermentation of vegetables. So you will take the vegetables and you'll put the salt in it. So the best examples of this kind of the thing is sauerkraut and dry salted pickled cucumbers, etc. Okay, so here you are going to take the vegetables and put in the dry salt. So that's why this method is called as dry salted method. Then coming to the second type is a brine salted. So brine is nothing but a salt solution. Okay, so where you are going to prepare it of about taking off in 100 ml, about the 15 to 20% of the salt is going to be added, which is going to act as a brine solution. And here in this brine solution, you are going to keep your vegetables whatever you want to ferment. So for example, here is the pickled cucumbers, kimchi, olives, and the radish are going to be kept in the brine solution, and they are allowed for the fermentation. Then moving to the non-salted, so that means basically you are not going to add the salt directly here. Afterwards you will add. So vegetables are fermented by lactic acid bacteria without the prior addition of salt or the brine. So that's why this is called as non-salted method. Then the fourth method is pit fermentation. Pit means some sort of a dig, isn't it? So this Pacific pit fermentation or an ancient method of preserving vegetables without the addition of salt. So here also we are not going to add any salt. So here you can see the picture. This is how the pits will be there. In that this is a wooden pit, so in which they are going to put their raw materials of vegetables, and they are going to close it and allowed for the fermentation. So the raw materials undergo an acid fermentation within the pit to produce a paste with good keeping qualities. The examples of this pit fermentation method are kawal, that is leaves of wild African legume called Cassia obtusifolia, and cassava leaves are going to be used in this pit fermentation. So these are all the different methods by which the vegetables are going to be fermented. Then moving to the importance of fermented vegetables. So what are the main advantages of having these fermentation of vegetables? Means one is the preservation that I already told you. The preservation which allows for greater shelf life, which means in general the raw vegetables are not going to be having a long shelf life. But once they are going to be preserved in the form of a fermented vegetable form, they are going to have the greater shelf life. Apart from acting as a means of preservation, it makes food easier to digest also. Next, the second importance is improved quality. The fact that the fermented vegetables are not cooked, so obviously it makes it more nutritious and makes food safer for consumption also. So if you are going to cook the raw material, obviously you are going to lose some sort of a minerals and the nutrients in it. But here in the fermented vegetables, you are not going to cook, so obviously it is going to retain its nutrients and all the vitamins, etc. And detoxification. The third importance is detoxification. That is going to reduce the anti-nutritional properties in vegetables during the fermentation process. That means when you are going to have some sort of nutritional properties are going to be reduced, which is going to be removed by this fermented vegetable. That means reduce anti-nutritional properties that is present in the vegetables during the fermentation process. Then this fermented vegetables is also going to involve in saving our time and fuel. So how it is going to save our time and fuel? Because a decrease in the cooking time and the fuel requirements obviously save our time and the fuel. No need of cooking. So immediately you can eat it. Then the fifth method is the medicinal benefits. So there are many traditional beliefs about the medicinal properties of these fermented food particles. So example, the Far ethnic group in Sudan strongly believe that the consumption of fermented foods protects them from the disease. Okay. However, there are some scientific bases to these assertions, including the lowering the pH. That means the lowering of the pH inhibits the growth of food spoilage or poisoning bacteria and destroy certain pathogens. And certain lactic acid bacteria and mouse have been producing some sort of antibiotics and basiotrocins, okay, and protect effect against the development of the cancer also. That means the beneficial health effects of these lactic acid bacteria on the intestinal flora are also well documented, all these things. And the substances in fermented foods have been found to have a protective effect against the development of the cancer. So these are all the some of the medicinal benefits. One is going to be of traditional belief, and another one is the scientific aspects. You are going to have all the medicinal benefits with the consumption of this fermented vegetables. So how many types of things that we have discussed here is five types majorly. One is the preservation, then improved quality, detoxification, saving time and fuel, and the medicinal aspects. So that's all about the fermented vegetables. In the coming videos, we are going to discuss about the types of and processing of these fermented vegetables like sauerkraut, pickles, and idli. Thank you.